In terms of formalization of mining, we learn from best practices also globally. And one of the things we've found is that if you look at Peru and Chile, next door to each other, there's illegal mining in Peru. Peru has an illegal mining challenge, but next door in Chile, they don't. And for us, that presents an opportunity for us to learn the lessons of how this can be resolved in a sustainable way. One of the ways for doing it, other than the formalization process that the CEO touched on, is the issue of tracing. And that's one of the things that Chile stands out for. Tracing is done in a way such as to ensure that if you engage in illegal mining, you are locked out of the system, the financial system, everything else. So therefore, there's no incentive for illegal miners to continue what they are doing. In fact, tracing will do for especially the gold mining industry, what the Kimberley process did for diamond in particular. You know that there was this issue of conflict diamonds and the challenges associated. The difference or the challenge with gold is that it doesn't have the same unique identity as diamond has. So you must use a tracing mechanism to address these days with technology such as blockchain. It becomes an issue that can be done sustainably. And in fact, for the large scale miners, our sector ministry has engaged us and asked us to relinquish mines. We've decided that we won't do relinquishment or surrendering of our concessions, portions of our concessions, just for the sake of it. We would use that to develop the framework, as like the CEO said, that will ensure that you formalize, because it's been established that formalization is one of the ways to do this. In fact, the finance minister just 2 days ago was talking about a World Bank report that was pointing to challenges with economic rent. The truth of the matter is that the economic rent that is lost to the state is that portion that should come from the ASM sector, because if you look at today's production, like the CEO said, last year they did 52% of production compared to large scale miners, and yet they contribute less than 2%, almost 1% in relative terms to government revenue. So all that is lost. So anybody doing a study matching production with revenue, you will see that there's a shortfall, and that's why the finance minister keeps talking about a shortfall in economic rent. That comes from the untapped part of the ASM or the industry that is engaged in ASM and illegal mining. Once we formalize, we get them to submit to regulation, and then they'll then be captured in the formal system and they begin to pay their fair share of taxes to the state.
All right, Mr.